Okay guys, so on this one I will go ahead and show you how I do the initial basic setup when I install the operating system. In this case, this is Windows 11, but it's very similar to the Windows 10 installation process. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I do. I'll go ahead and click on yes here for the US. Alright guys, so I'm signing back into the Windows 11 here. Apart from my screen recording software, I haven't really done anything to this installation. Matter of fact, I haven't even gone online after signing into the Windows. And so I'll be sharing some of the things that I do with the new installation in terms of the privacy settings, security settings, and getting rid of any non-essential apps and bloatware that comes with the standard Windows installation. Now, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the Windows 11 and this is the first time that you're looking at it, I'll show you how to navigate. There hasn't a whole lot of change from what I've seen as far as where everything is, but some of the things may have been, renamed, and so that's why I just want to show you. So this right here is your Windows start menu, your start button, which used to be always here on the far left. So if you click on it, it pretty much looks kind of the way it did with the Windows 10 or parts of Windows 8. And so what you would want to do is you could right click on the start menu here and you'll see all the familiar options here. So you have your system here and you have your settings. So those are some of the two of the areas that we're going to be focusing on during this. And I'm going to go ahead and click on settings here. And so this is settings. You're on the up top here, it says system. This is the settings screen. If I right click on it again on the start button there, and then click on system, it takes you to the sub menu of the system portion, which is about the Windows, where it tells you your hardware, your processor, memory, processor type, your Windows version. So in this case, you can see it's Windows 11 Home version 21H2. And as you can see from the date here, I literally just installed this yesterday. And let's take a look at it quickly. This should be automatically. So now I did connect this. It did actually force me to connect to the internet while I was setting it up. So it should be activated. Yeah, as you can see right here, it's already been activated automatically without me having to put any product key or anything with the digital license, which you could see right here. It says digital license, meaning if you had the Windows 10 pre-installed on the computer prior to you upgrading to Windows 11, it would get the digital license. All right, so we're gonna go back here now. And what I want to do is if you just want to focus on the, well, actually, before I get into that, let me show you how there's another way you could navigate and get to the screen here is by going all the way down here. If you click on any one of these icons, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this little globe here that represents your internet, your network connection option. So I'm going to click on that. And then right here, you see the little icon right here for settings. I'm going to click on that. And that brings you to the same screen. As as you saw, nothing really changed because we're already in there. So I'm going to go ahead and actually close this so you can see it a little bit better this time. And click here, and that brings you right into the system screen. So there's a couple of ways you could get to this. So that's all I wanted to show you. Okay, so now going back on the things that I need to do before I connect to the internet and do anything else is on the left side here, where I'm going to go right over to the privacy and security option right here. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see a list of options that you have right here. I'm going to click on the Windows security first. So as you can see here, it pretty much looks everything the way it does in Windows 10. So nothing's different here. And I don't think I really need to address anything because everything is already has a green check mark on it. So I'm gonna go back. Obviously, you once you connect to internet, you gotta make sure that your Microsoft security definitions are up to date and any applicable Windows updates. So I'm gonna go back here now and click on this Find My Device option. So this basically, as you can read right here, it says track your device if you think you have lost it. So this does help you with that. So if you do use that option, I would probably leave it alone and leave it on. If you do not, then you want to make sure it's turned off. So in my case, it's already turned off because you're presented with this option during the Windows installation, during the Windows setup prior to you signing into the desktop. So on that screen, I had opted not to leave this on. So by default, it's on, but I had turned it off. So that's why showing it's off here. If any point you change your mind and you want to turn it back on, you could come to this screen and turn it on. Um, but if you ever use a Windows, if you ever use this option in Android or with iPhone, you do have to have an account associated with the device. So basically, you have to be signed into the device for this to work. So the reason right now it's grayed out because I didn't create a Microsoft account. I'm signed in with what's called a local account, and that's why it's not letting me enable this. So if I wanted to enable this, I would have to sign into my Microsoft account, and then I'll be able to change this. Well, I'm back here now. So for the developers options right here, again, this is off. If you do like getting, a preview of any upcoming changes, features, and whatnot with the Windows operating system, you could turn this on and participate in that, and then you'll get a kind of early sneak peek at different things that are happening with the operating system. I'm going to leave that off. And then we'll go into the general section, and there's a number of things that we need to go through here, which some of them you can read right here. So let's go ahead and click on general, and you can see that there's all these options already enabled by default. And again, this is one of the options that you are presented with during the installation. And once again, I had opted to turn it off. That's why it's off. I don't need any advertising ID. I don't need personal. I don't want, I'm not interested in seeing any personalized advertisement, so I'm gonna leave that off. And then you got says yeah. So again, this is more along the lines of advertising, so I'm gonna turn everything off here because I'm not interested in that. And then we'll go ahead and speech right here. So if you use a Cortana or any of the online speech recognition options features, you want to leave this on. I do not plan on using that on this machine, so I'm going to turn it off. And then you got inking and typing personalization. And this is again, if you let's see, so it is on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off because I'm not gonna be doing any of this on this device. But if you do want to use a pen and if you have a touch screen where you could use your pen to write and things like that, you probably want to leave this on if you're interested in. And there's a dictionary, so there's nothing in here that I need to take care of, so I'll go ahead and go back. Diagnostics and feedback. So if you do want to provide Microsoft Edge with any feedback, don't count on that they're gonna do anything about it. So in my case, I leave it off. But if you do wanna, you could turn these on. I would just leave it off. And you could always also delete your any log that's on your device that's been created automatically during some kind of troubleshooting or whatnot, which you could do it from the screen. And you can obviously see the data. If you did opt in, you could take a look at which data you want to submit to them, and then you could also. So as you can see, it would take up to 1 gigabyte of hard drive space if you do opt in for this. So I'm going to leave all this off. Go back again. Activity history again. If you do find yourself going back to your previous searches and things like that to recall the information, then you could leave this on. I'm not interested in all that, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off here. I'm going to clear this. Because some of this information, while it's useful for you, who's to say that they're not using it, to market their stuff. So that's why I leave it off. I'm going to turn that off. Search permission right here. So there's a different ways you could search, and there's a search related settings in here. First one, it's called safe search. If you do have a family computer that in particularly kids use it, I would recommend that you switch this to a strict instead of off or moderate. So I would switch it to this right here, where I would filter out any adult text, images, and videos from my web result. Because when you search down here, when you search anything in here in Windows, even with Windows 10, the search result that you get, it's a combination of things that are on your computer as well as things that out on the web. So you can control what search results that you're shown with this option right here. So yeah, as I said, if you have a family computer or a computer that you share with kids particularly, switch this to a strict. I'm going to leave it at moderate at this point. Cloud content search. So if you have a Microsoft account and you want to search through your online cloud storage, which is in this case called OneDrive, if you have an Outlook account, things like that, you could search through that. I'm not planning on using a Microsoft account on this machine, so I'm going to turn this off. And this is also related to your Microsoft account, so I'm going to turn that off. This is your history. So it says search history on this device. So for example, if let's say you are browsing something on your computer, a couple of days later, now you trying to find that information again, and you don't really know a whole lot about it, but if you know some keywords here and there, you could search through your history to recall that information. I'm gonna turn this off. I don't really need that, so I'm gonna turn that off. But if you do find you're doing, things like that, leave it on in that case. But I'm gonna go back again, and then we got more search-related settings right here. So you basically tell Windows where and how to search. Uh, and this screen right here, so this is indexing. What indexing does is basically it kind of creates quick sort of map of things that are on your computer. So it creates a catalog, if you would, of the items that are on your computer. And then when you're searching it, just like the word index in a book, it makes it easier for the search functionality to find that information, to retrieve that. So if you do want to leave this on, you could do that. With the modern hard drive, particularly SSDs, it doesn't take a long for Windows to search through your data. This used to be a lot more helpful with mechanical hard drive, particularly when you have a large amount of data. It could take a while for the search to go through all those folders and files. So in that case, it did help, but with the modern storage, how far it has come, I don't really find any need to leave this on. So I'm gonna leave it off. And then you have additional options related to that. This down here, it lets you exclude several, custom locations. So if you, as you can see, by default, Windows already adds these locations because most people are not going to be saving their personal data, meaning, things that you create like your resumes, your pictures, things that you download from the web. Um, you're not going to be saving those to these locations typically. So when you're searching, by excluding this, you are helping the search uh, find that information a lot faster because it doesn't have to search through these locations. So if you do have any other location that you want to filter out, you could do that by clicking on here where it says add excluded folder. So for example, if you're like one of those people that always downloads things, but never bothers to clean up the download folder, uh, it may help to add the downloads folder as an exclusion. Uh, so you could do that from here. And then you got more advanced indexing options. Since we're not using indexing, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to go ahead and go back one more time. And then we get into the apps permissions right here. There's a lot of the things in here to go through here. Majority of them are pretty much fall into the same kind of same category. It depends on your preference. So, for example, if you don't want to type in your zip code when you're searching for things nearby, so like for example, if you're looking to order pizza and you find a restaurant and you don't feel like putting your zip code and you want the website or an app automatically detect your location, then you may want to leave the location on. In my case, it's off. And then if you have more than one app, so for example, if you have a navigation app, then you have an app for, let's say, Uber, or you have a Grubhub and things like that. You can customize kind of which app you want to share the location with, so you can limit that further by going through these In my case, all these are turned off because my location service is on. But if this was on, then I can pick and choose which one, I want to allow access to. So I may want to allow access, let's say, if there was a maps navigation application here, I would probably want to leave that on so it could detect my location. But I'm not so much interested in my camera having my location, so in that case, I would leave it off. So you could do that by using these options. I'm going to leave it off, all the location services for time being. I'm going to go back again, and all these going to be the same thing. So same thing again for camera. You could pick and choose which application could have access to your camera. So like for example here, you can see that camera is on by default because at some point I'm probably going to end up using my built-in webcam that's in this laptop here. So that's why I left it on. But then when you have this on, it kind of gives access to some of the application that you don't really want to give access to. For example, like feedback. I'm not interested in providing Microsoft any feedback, any automated feedback, through my computer. So that I don't need the feedback hub to have access to my camera. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And you could do the same thing for, any other application that you have here. So I'm going to go back again. Microphone, again, in this case, I'm using OBS right here. So you can see that that application is currently using it. But again, feedback, I don't need feedback application to have access to my microphone. So I'm going to turn that off. Cortana, I'm not planning on using Cortana on this device, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Camera probably would leave it on. It's in case if I'm doing some kind of, online webcam session, and if I'm using this particular built-in Windows camera app to record something, I may want to leave this on here. But yeah, so once you right now the list is a lot smaller, but down the road as you install more application, let's say for example, you'll see more entries here. So you probably at that point you do want to come back to these settings and make sure you're only allowing access to the things or applications that should have access to those devices. Let's go back again. I'm going to go ahead a little bit faster now. So actually I do want to spend some time on a notification. So by default the notification is on. We all have gotten used to our smartphone by now, so we're kind of used to, we do want to have some notification. We do want to be notified about some of the things so you don't kind of miss anything. But then there are notifications that you rather not have. So every time, you're near a Dunkin' Donut, you may not want to have any coupons or whatever notification pop up on your phone. Similarly, on your computer, you'll be seeing a lot of notification that comes from either from one of the apps that you have or Microsoft. So at times it could get annoying. So you do want to customize those here. Also want to show you down here. There's an option called Focus Assist. I do really like this option here. You have that in Windows 10 right now. So when you turn this on, it's kind of like if you have an Android phone. I'm sure I think iPhone has this too. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but on Android it's called Do Not Disturb, mode. So this is similar to that Focus Assist. Basically, you still get notification, but they kind of don't show up on your screen while this is turned on. So if you are one of those people where you do prefer getting a lot of notification, every single notification, then I would say leave this setting up here on. But while you're working on something that really needs your 100% focus on that task, you could turn this on to temporarily kind of disable those notifications. All right. And then if you are one of those people who don't really care about any notification, you could simply turn it off from here. Gonna go back again and account information. There's not much to go in because we haven't signed into the Microsoft account, but if you did, you probably want to check those settings in here. Um, as you can see right here, because we're not signed into the Microsoft account, these are turned off. You could actually turn this off from here as well. And carrying on, I don't use the context on my computer, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. If you do use, actually, let me just quickly go back there. If you do use the Windows Mail app for your email and you store your contacts in there, you probably want to leave this on here. So some of these options that I'm going to go through here, your selection will probably vary depending on how you use your computer. I'm going to quickly go through these and turn them off. Majority of them, phone calls, I don't use my. It's kind of annoying where you go through these and then when you go back, it kind of brings you to the top of it's kind of annoying that it doesn't remember my location, where I was last when I hit back arrow, and instead of bringing me back where I was, it defaults to all the way top. Also, this section right here, the apps permission, I wish Microsoft had everything on one screen where you could kind of address all these from the single screen without having to just go back and forth. Because there's definitely a lot of settings to go through in this particular section here. So yeah, it gets really annoying that you have to, keep going this back and forth, especially when it doesn't remember where you were last before you hit the back. Other devices, I don't know what other device. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna turn this off. So it's kind of similar to your like it's kind of like your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi signal. So I'm going to turn that off here. And so it doesn't turn off your Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but it's kind of similar to that. It basically tells the devices around you who you are. Gonna go ahead and turn this off here. Diagnostics, let's see, automatic file downloads. Okay, there's nothing to do in there. Videos, it's already off. And I'm going through a little fast, but yeah, if you do want to know more about what the option does, it gives you a little description in there. So for example, let's see. I'm gonna click on here. See, so each option kind of gives you a little brief description of what it does. So you could go through those. File system, I would leave this alone. Videos. And just like the location, camera, and microphone settings, so the videos in this case right here, this is your library or folder, some people call it. So if you go in here, you see up here, you have your downloads, documents, pictures, music, and videos. So this right here is referring to this folder here. So if you do save things, like some of the application would automatically save based on the type of content in one of these folders here. So if you create a video, it would probably Windows would probably save it in here as a default location. So that's what this is about. I don't use Xbox, so I could turn this off here. But if I'm using a camera app and I'm recording something, and when I save it, I would want it to go directly to the videos because it would make it easier for me to find it. All right, so that's, let's see, and that's same thing applies to these, pictures, music, downloads, documents. That's what this is all about. I'm not sure why feedback hub is everywhere, so I'm going to turn that off. Even though I opted to, yeah, again, it's one of those things I wish Windows would, was a little bit more intelligent, but when under my previous settings up here, when I chose not to participate in, it should have somehow connected to these option here, but again, it's Windows. What are you gonna do? Gonna turn that off because I'm not planning on using this app. I use VLC player for my media since Windows 10. So I'm going to turn that off. If you do use this app, obviously you can leave it on. I don't have a whole lot of, let's see, I'm going to go back here again. Let's see, what did I miss? Pictures. Again, annoying. Turn that off. Pictures. Music, we've gone through downloads. Let's see, downloads, I don't have feedback. That's kind of strange that the other ones did, but not that. So here, this is we already took care of that earlier. Okay. And I think that's about it now. So we've gone through all these settings under apps. So I think we're pretty much done with this section, the privacy and security section. Next thing what I want to do is I want to focus on this section right here called apps, and then take a look at any optional features or any kind of non-essential bloatware application and get rid of those, or any application that we don't really use or plan on using. So I'm going to go through those. And so we get total with, now keep in mind I haven't done anything to this installation apart from just installing this one program to record my screen. And there's 39 apps by default. And I probably don't want all 39 of them, and I should be able to remove, uninstall majority of the things that I don't use. There are some things that kind of Microsoft doesn't give you option, and you kind of stuck with it, and it just stays on your computer even though you don't use it. So feedback hub, let's see if we can remove that. So I'm going to click on here. It says uninstall right here. Go ahead and uninstall that. Cortana, I don't plan on using it, but I don't think it will let you uninstall that because it's kind of built-in component within the operating system. Yeah, so it's grayed out here, as you can see right there. So more or less, Microsoft is kind of forcing you to, keep this here, hoping that you would change your mind. Groove music right here. I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall that. This is not gonna really hurt you, but I'm just curious to see. Yeah, so this is grayed out. Yeah, alarm and clock. It's probably same. Well, calculator, I do use it, so I'm gonna leave it alone. Camera probably is essential. That's why it's grayed out. Maps. I do use Google Maps, so I don't really need this. But again, it's one of those options that kind of grayed out, so you can't really do anything about it. There are some more advanced custom solutions that let you remove these grayed out items. I'm not gonna go into those right now, but what I'm currently showing you is, things that you could uninstall using the default options without getting too technical. Go ahead and uninstall this. Solitaire, don't use it. I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall that. Microsoft Teams, go ahead and uninstall that. I don't need that right now. Well, it's not a bad application, but I don't need it right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall it. To do, I'm gonna leave that on in case I do use it. In case I want to use that later on. This I'm gonna leave it on. Notepad, I'm gonna leave it on. Office. So this is not a full version of Office. You could tell right here by looking at the size of it. So this is just kind of like a teaser, preview, trial. It's not even. I wouldn't even call it a trial version. Because when you try to actually open one of the applications, it starts to download that and kind of forces you to use your Microsoft account. I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall that. People, let's see if it lets you uninstall that. No, it's grayed out. Power Automate, I'm gonna leave it on for now. Tips. If you're new to the operating system, I would leave it on. I'm gonna take it off because sometimes um, it it kind of comes up as one of those notifications that we talked about earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. I know where to find information in case I do need to, so that's why I'm taking it off. But yeah, if you're brand new to especially somebody like that comes from Windows 7, for example, or a completely different operating system, like Mac, for example, then it wouldn't hurt to leave it on. Tips. There's some good, useful information in there that would help a beginner. Weather, I guess you can leave it on. But yeah, if you have another preferred source for your weather information, you can go ahead and uninstall it. Xbox, I do not plan on using any of that, so I'm going to go ahead and uninstall that. Let's see if it lets me remove the Xbox game bar. So that option is grayed out, which is kind of, again, one of those strange things, how Microsoft forces you to keep something that you don't want or not going to need. It lets you remove some of the Xbox related application, but not this guy. All right, so in your phone, that's grayed out again. All right, so I think we've gone through all of these. And oh yeah, I want to address this right up here. So it says choose where to get your applications. So now, any apps that you download, most likely you're gonna download that from Microsoft App Store. Although it's not true for me on my Android phone where I download my apps beyond just the Google Play Store. So in that case, on my phone, I have settings where I want the phone to I want the operating system on my phone not to restrict me where I get my apps from. But in case of Windows, I don't see myself downloading applications from anywhere else other than Microsoft App Store. So that's why I don't want to have this option anywhere as a default option. And actually, quite frankly, I'm surprised that Microsoft hasn't defaulted this to the recommended option right here. which is from Microsoft Store only. So if you do side what's called side download applications from other sources manually, then you want to switch this to anywhere. So this way, it doesn't Microsoft Windows doesn't block you from installing those applications. But in my case, I don't do that on my computer, so I'm gonna leave this to the Microsoft Store only. It kind of also helps you prevent any applications from unknown sources sneaking into your computer. So it's more of a preventive measure. Uh, Share across devices. Let's see. So this, if you're using your Microsoft account, if you're not using your Microsoft account, there's no need for that to be on. So if you have multiple Microsoft devices, of Windows devices that you log on to, you could have, you could continue your app experiences on amongst different devices. Basically, that's what this is. I'm going to turn this off. More settings. Let's see what this is. Yeah, there's nothing really that we need to bother with in here, so I'm going to leave it on. And I think that's about it. Trying to quickly think if there's anything else that I'm missing here. So we gone through the privacy and security settings. We removed unnecessary unwanted apps. Now, if you have a brand new computer that you just purchased with the Windows preloaded, chances are you're probably going to have more what's called bloatware from the manufacturer. So, for example, if you have a Dell computer, you're probably going to have an applications that's been installed on that computer from Dell that you may or may not want to use it. In that case, you're going to have to go ahead and uninstall those as well. This is what's called a clean installation directly from Microsoft. So I do not have any those sort of programs to uninstall. But yeah, if you have a Lenovo or HP, things like that, you probably will have unnecessary applications from there as well. Those manufacturers as well. I'm going to quickly take a look at the list here to see if there's anything that we missed. And yeah, nothing really stands out. So everything is okay. I do like this. I do like this kind of navigation through this center here instead of being it on the left there. So I never thought I would get used to it on Windows. I have used this kind of interface on Linux build, but not on Windows. So I surprised myself when I found this to be more convenient than the traditional left start menu being here on the bottom left. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this online, do some updates. I should have some missing drivers, I believe. So I'll also take care of those during those updates, and I'll do a separate video for those. So if you do want to know about how to find those missing drivers or updates or whatnot, I'll cover that in a separate video. But this is it for this video on how to check and customize your security settings and privacy settings. If you have any questions, do let me know that in the comment section below. And I do thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.